Welcome everyone. Hello to you all. My name is Oliver Haynes, and for the past 10 years I've been studying mediumship and the concept of surviving physical death, getting to know more and more about the subject. Increasingly, in our turbulent, uncertain and disordered world, people are looking for answers to life's big questions, and there is really no bigger one than this, is there? Up to the passing of Pam, my dear wife for 30 years, from an aggressive cancer in February 2014, I had remained open-minded and yet never had any concrete evidence of our survival after death. Eventually, having nothing to lose, I thought, what the hell? And sought out an experienced professional medium in the West Midlands area of the UK from his website. I was determined to know more and progressed to regular communication with Pam and my other close relatives through dozens of evidential mediums. Since then, I've been inspired to research and write 2 Amazon books on the afterlife and mediumship, to both raise our understanding and bring hope, upliftment and inspiration to those suffering bereavement or indeed facing death themselves. For everyone, there is far more to come. We can enjoy our lives much more if we do not fear death, the unspeakable. The certainty that we're going to enjoy a heavenly life, free of all suffering, mortality and needs, can make such a huge difference to us, physically and mentally, in the here and now. So, in this series of podcasts, Conversations on Mediumship and the Spirit World, I shall be talking to mediums on the vast subject of the afterlife, the heaven which we shall all ultimately be entering. We have no choice in the matter. Coming from many backgrounds, mediums work as the vital communication bridge between the spirit realm and the physical world. And the fulfillment of that great mission is of incalculable value to both sides. The consciousness of our past loved ones in spirit remains exactly the same as when we knew them on the physical plane, yet they are now without a body or voice box, instead communicating telepathically across both worlds via thought as an energy rather than via sound. Given the rare opportunity, spirit people can also use the voice box of mediums to articulate their thoughts and memories. So what is mediumship all about then? Do join me on my exciting voyage of discovery, and let's find out together from the ones who can tell us, the mediums themselves. As our special guest in this 3rd episode of Conversations on Mediumship and the Spirit World, I'm delighted to welcome the Reverend Lynda Child from Telford, UK. Lynda, an experienced working evidential international medium for over 30 years, is also a Christian spiritualist church minister. Having been a graduate in 2005 of the West Midlands Exponents course run by the Spiritualists National Union, in 2019 Lynda started her training to become a church minister and was ordained at Bewdley Spiritualist Church in 2022. So, a very warm welcome to you, Lynda.
Thank you.
It's great that you can join us here today. Now tell us, what encouraged and motivated you to take the rocky road of mediumship?
Well, my mother used to always take me to see mediums, and I was always intrigued, especially when things happened and come right, because in those days you sort of wanted what the future was going to hold more than who was out there. But then I had a message, and I decided that I wanted to see what spirit was all about, and somebody took me to a spiritualist church, and there I went, and I was so shocked and so wonderful, and I've never felt so much love in a room, that I wanted to go back, and I had this urge to go back. And my grandfather came through and said, it's time for you to make changes in your life, and which I started the process off. And when my father passed, I went to see another medium who told me that I'd meet my husband and everything. So it all sort of developed from there. But the spiritualist church I went to at Sturchley in Telford were absolutely so welcoming, and through them I started to take awareness classes, and because I'd always spoke to spirit, but you sort of speak to it and just think I'm talking to yourself in your head, and you don't realise, and then they sort of put everything into perspective and explained what I can and can't do, and I ended up joining their circle and going to many little craft things and areas where we learned a bit more and how to do it in different ways. And one of the ways I used to like was the writing ones, and psychology, looking at holding an object and seeing what it gives you.
Psychometry, yeah.
That's it. I'm terrible with words, you have to excuse me. But all this was all bringing bits and building up yourself, and it just intrigued me and taught me how to want more and know more, and also accept what I've been going through. It's quite an amazing little journey, to be honest.
So can you describe for us your traits of empathy and sensitivity, your skills and your way of working, since in my experience no two mediums work in quite the same way or present the same detail?
Well, one of the things, I've always been an empath. Didn't realise it straight away at first, because as you said, it's a learning curve. But what it is when I used to go into a room, I could feel the atmosphere, and growing up I often used to think it was something I'd done, and it wasn't until I learnt what it was that I realised it wasn't me. It was me, but not in that sense. I'm feeling their energy is not my own. And with the sensitivity, that's when I feel their aura into my aura, and then we are linked together so we can deliver messages, but also I feel that I pick up their aches and their pains in their bodies, and they very kindly take mine away, and they let me give it back to them as well, which is really nice of them, to be fair. I don't want to hang on to their aches and pains, but it's their way of working with me. Not everybody works the same way, and sensitivity can mean various things for various mediums.
Right. Yes, thank you. So, as you've just described, you're well known as a clairsentient medium, and this is a rather important aspect. Since your own aches and pains, as you've described, disappear at demonstrations of mediumship, could you tell us the story of your badly sprained ankle, which temporarily stopped hurting entirely when you were on a church platform once in Tamworth, Staffordshire?
I'm going to say that was in Tamworth. I went there to do a service, and I'd had a fall and hurt my ankle, and I limped in, and I got up on the rostrum, and spirit, like I said, that they take my pain away and my aches and pains, because unfortunately I'm getting old now and I have a few, but they took it away, and I was quite surprised that I was walking. I even mentioned it because I went, wow, I'm walking, a limp on here and I can walk now, and I was walking around and I was giving the messages, but as soon as I come off and I got off that rostrum, I stood on the floor and the pain was back, and I thought that was quick. Could have let me get back to the car first, but that's the way it is. But spirit very kindly take away your aches and pains, and I believe this is because they want you to be able to, especially as a sentient, they want you to feel what the congregation are feeling and what their loved ones in spirit used to feel, that they want to give to you so you can know the difference.
Yes, thank you. And do you prefer working in public venues before an audience, or doing face-to-face or remote readings? Also, I understand that you work with a group of international mediums who generously provide free remote readings all around the world to help the bereaved.
I am in an elite group online via Facebook, and yes, we do free and paid readings. I do both, but it is run from America, and there's only 4 of us that do it at the moment, but we do a lot of work with it, and it reaches out to people because I like to help people, and God gave me this beautiful gift, and so it's my way of giving back, and so I do the free readings and help people, and I've got some beautiful replies back from people thanking me, etc., because we have our own little page on there where we get feedback, and I like to get the feedback. Even if they didn't resonate something I said, they can always come back and say, oh, it did happen or something, because that happens sometimes with people, but it is beautiful just to see you've helped somebody, and that's the one thing we do. And I forgot the other bit of the question. I'm sorry.
Which do you prefer doing?
Which I prefer.
Platforms
I
or
actually love them all.
Yes.
But in the platform, the wonderful thing about doing on the platform is that you've got a room full of beautiful energy. Yes. When you can keep the energy up, and when you keep the level of the energies up, that's wonderful. And so you've got more engrossed in that with the feedback from different people, and putting that smile on their face. With the automatic writing, that's me and Spirit alone, and I just let them do it, and then it is sent off. Yeah. With the one-to-ones, like if I do anything like that, that's facing somebody, because you do this for the churches as well. When you're facing one-to-one, you can be more personal. By me more personal, it means you can tell them little private things that they probably wouldn't want public. In a church, you have to keep it respectful and make sure that they are getting what they need to know, but in a way that it's not telling the world. So if you was a bank robber and you didn't want anyone to know, but I could tell you in private that you was, but I wouldn't be able to tell you on the rostrum, or if you'd done anything naughty. So it's basically using a bit of common sense, really. Yeah,
often the spirit person doesn't like being totally open in front of an audience, because they're people.
I think when you look at it this way, they say personalities you're working with, isn't it? So their personalities are going to be whatever it was when they were here. And if they were cheeky so-and-so that was never restrained, they will do it. But if you're doing it in front of people, like in a church, you would not be using expletives and things like that if they used a bit colourful language. That's right. But if you was doing a one-to-one, you'd say, we can still say, I don't swear myself anyway, so I don't say them, but I say they would have said a naughty word and it began with this letter. That's but yeah, it depends on who you have, but they are normally respectful. But they can still be a little cheeky, and I have had one in before that was tried to push me off the rostrum once, but that was a long time ago. But he got a bit of a temper with him. But I did give it out as a temper, and they said yes, I can take that.
You just touched on it, but you have some interesting views on how the energy in a room or between people can affect demonstrations of mediumship. Yes. So energy is energy, and it can be positive or negative.
Yes.
You once described working in a space with negative energy as like walking through treacle. Yes. So do tell us more about the subject and what you do personally to raise the energies. Well, there is a lot of normal fun and jokiness among spirit people, and how does your personality link in with that?
Well, a bit like the empath, as I said. When you're an empath and you walk into a room and you feel the stoniness, cold of it, when a church has sort of got you in their disfavour per se, it has happened to me, and I went there for quite a few years. In between those times as well, I'd also lost close people that were close to me, so your own energy can be low as well. So sometimes with that you can't fight their energy, and but there was. I knew as soon as I walked through the door that this was going to be hard, because the energy was so flat, And then when they're flat, it's a bit like somebody going, prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it. Or when you've got to a football match, come on you. And but it's like they're not saying it out loud, but that's the atmosphere you're getting. You know, like, we don't believe in you at the moment, you know. And prove it, prove it, prove it. That's what it feels like to you. And so that pushes your own energy back, but it also puts a barrier between you and them. And it's also, the other time you can get that as well is when somebody puts an invisible wall up in front of them, and you've got to try and break that wall to speak to them. And believe it or not, everybody, by doing that, you're blocking, and you're trying to block the medium. But you have to chip away at it sometimes to get it off. But when you've got a whole room full doing that, it's a lot harder. But when you've got a room full of people, which is why one of the things I always say to them, I said, now look, I will joke about a bit with you. I warn them first, and I don't give you skeletons out the cupboard. They can stay completely put unless you want to tell everybody in the world, but it's not coming from me. And then I also say, look, I try and make you laugh and lift you up, and so I might make you make a cheeky grin to the person next to you. But the reason is because we work with your energy and my energy, and so we have to build that up. And so that normally works, but sometimes when they've got that dead thing there and they're putting this wall up, and the more people there that do this wall, the harder it is to break it. And sometimes, especially if your own self is a bit low, especially because, I mean, at the time I know I was grieving, but I do feel that I hadn't got the energy to fight the wall, and so in the end I didn't go back to that church. That was their choice, not mine, and I understand that and I appreciate that, but it can happen, and it can happen to anyone, any medium, and because sometimes those walls can be quite hard to push past if there's too many of them. But if you just chip away at it, I would say don't ever give up, because everybody can have a bad experience, but believe in spirit and believe that they're looking after you, because they do, they really truly do. And once you give them all your energy and your belief in them, they are there for you every step of the way, and I'd never doubt them.
Thank you, Lynda. I recognise your acknowledged speciality as automatic spirit writing. Among the 100 or so mediums I've met in my own research path over the last 10 years, I'd put you as number one in this specialised field, because you practice it more often and have perfected it more than anyone else I know. So can you please describe how automatic spirit writing works?
Well, it's very kind of you to think I'm number one. That's very kind of you. You probably need to meet a few more though. You probably find I won't be, but never mind. The thing is, I started off with automatic writing when I was learning to develop my skills, to be in charge. I would say you've got the skills hidden, but it's getting that further up. And so when we first started, when I started going to circles and education, I used to practice. I used to get somebody to put something on a piece of paper, write a sentence, just so I can feel their energy from the words. So I used to put my hands over the words, what they said. It didn't matter what they wrote, I was just picking up on their energy from the actual physical writing it. And then I'd sit down and say, give me something for them to spirit, and I'd sit down and with pen and paper, and then I'd just start writing away. And it comes like a thought in my head, so I know what I'm writing when I'm writing it, but then my finger just goes boop, 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 and I'm just writing. Yes. And I don't read it after. I don't check the English, but I do notice that my writing changes.
Yes.
And then I had yourself, as you know. You've been following me for a while. You're my little stalker. I had to get that one in, sorry. What I did was, you started giving me questions. And you really, really, really did push me to my limits. Things I'd never even done before, which I'm quite proud of now. I'm quite pleased you did. And you give me lovely feedback, thank you very much. But I did like the fact that, I have come to like the fact that you made me learn who my guide was. As though I knew I'd got a guide and what he was and what he looked like, I didn't know his name, and you inquired about him. And then we had all this different questions you've asked about your life and things like that, and your family, and it's just gone on there. And I quite like the fact that I still get excited when I go, I got it right, oh yeah, I get excited, I'm like a kid in the ball, you know, well yeah, I got it right. But it is because it's a satisfaction, and because I do what Spirit give me, and I'm not vain or anything like that, but I still enjoy when you know that you've got it right, because that's confirmation that you're doing a good job, and that's not for vanity or anything like that. It's actually just pure pure words, just saying that you have done the right thing and that you're correct in what you've given you, and that's important to me.
Yes.
And even if it was not right, then I can look back and ask the question to him, saying, why is this not understanding this? Have we put it in the wrong way? And then we might have to change it round, but we still might get the right answer to you. But not just what you want to hear, though, because sometimes what Spirit give you is not necessarily what you wanted to hear, but is what you needed to hear. And so that's something that the precipitant needs to take into mind as well, because sometimes they tell you what you need to do rather than what you want.
Next, Lynda, can you describe for us any particular astral travel journeys to faraway places, or other out-of-body experiences that you've had during your life?
Right, okay. I used to astral travel, and I did that before I knew I was astral travelling. And also I had precognition, that's the right word, isn't it? Where I used to have dreams of things that were going to happen. And I used to, with the astral travel, it was quite weird. I used to have these lucid dreams where I'd left my body and I was looking at people and looking at things around me, and it was like an old council houses type thing, a row of, and they used to have the gunnels or the little places where you could walk behind them, and you all got the fences, but you could see, you had to go down the side of the house and down round the back of it, and you could see inside the gardens. But and I remember going to be nosy, but I was flying over them. I wasn't actually walking, and I was just looking over them and looking down into them. And I remember, and it's really weird, but this was possibly part of my mind that was working with the actual what was happening, was if I'd heard a dog started barking at me, I'd started flapping my hands to move. And I always got away. I just started floating away, but I'm just thinking, because I'm a child, I'm going woo, trying to get it to fly, but I always used to get back. And many years later, somebody said about astral travel, and that was from the exponents, and we was talking about it. And I said, that's amazing. That's what I've been doing for years. But as soon as I knew what I was doing, the next time I did it, I went, oh wow, I'm astral traveling, and then went boing back into the bed straight away, and I woke up with such a horrendous headache, and that lasted about 2 days because I come back too quick. But I've not done it since. I think maybe this fear of having to come back too quick, because I get excited about seeing something new and realising what it is. But maybe one day to come back. With the precognition, I always used to know when I shouldn't go out the house. And so I'd say, we can't go now, we've got to go back in the house for a minute. And it was my ex-husband used to say, oh, why? And I say, well, I just don't feel right, it doesn't feel right. And then we go about 15, 20 minutes later and we pass a car crash. You know, so it was just things like that used to come a lot to me. But when you advance in spiritualism, you sometimes drop some of the things that you used to do, and you've picked up newer, more, you've progressed with it and gone further. So sometimes it's still there, probably if you need it, but you don't think about it anymore because you've moved forward and you're just following your path.
Thank you. As part of your way of working, you're often required to interpret symbols from spirit to indicate the current psychology or life situation of the audience member you're talking to. So, to give us an idea and help us understand, can you share some examples with us? Symbols.
Well, with symbols, like especially when I'm on the rostrum, or in one-to-ones as well, but spirit tend to show me something, and I always apologise when I do this in the rostrum, because sometimes I might see a dirty mark on the carpet or a stain, or a piece of furniture they've left out, or a pen or something, and I'll say, look, I'm ever so sorry. I said, I do apologise to the church. I said, but somebody's left this here, and it's Spirit have brought my attention to it. Can anyone take why I've got this in my hand? And somebody go, me. You know, and I go, okay, thank you. But it's, with the symbols, it's what it means to you. Okay, so I could turn around to you and say, I've got a pen here, and this pen, now it could mean that to me a pen would be, maybe you've got to write a letter. I mean, everybody does it on the phones now, but maybe you've got to write something down, or maybe you've got to finish something off, or it could be a document. Or you could say to them, what does a pen mean to you? And I said, and I could describe the pen, and I'd say, it's a memory. Or they could say it's this, or they could say, yes, I can take it from the context you've given me. But it's what, I always say, well, this is what Spirit gives to me, this is what they've given me, and this is what Spirit, this is, if it doesn't mean that to you, this is from me. This is what my interpretation is. Your interpretation is what's relevant to you. So in whatever way you can take it, and if they can't take it, then I'll say, then please take it away, because it will show itself. But 9 times out of 10, I've usually got it by giving my translations of what it means to me. But if it doesn't, it usually resonates in another way.
Yes, I was thinking of examples like a hedge maze or something like this.
A hedge maze? Finding my way out of it?
Yeah, Hampton Court Palace, where you're in a sense trapped in your life, and you can't see which way to get out of it. So it's the psychology of the person you're talking to.
Oh, right.
Or it might be...
I take it that's something I've said before.
Yes.
Oh, you see, I told you I don't remember anything.
No.
I'm terrible. I don't remember things. But yes, I can see where you're going with that. Yes. But that would be, whereas, yes, if you're in a, if I've got a maze and I'll say if they can't take a maze, then that would be feeling a bit lost. Okay, so that would I would translate it. Yeah. Well, I would translate it as a maze, but be finding your way, and so it would kind of have 2 meanings. It could be feeling lost, or it could be a happy memory. That's another one. Or it could be that follow the maze and you'll find your direction, but don't give up. And so it has many interpretations, but when you start talking to, and it will all depend on as well what you've given to the medium, to the recipient as well. But by talking to them and just saying simple things that you could find with a maze, it would be, look, you're walking through this maze, but I feel like you're feeling a bit lost, and you need to take a step back, breathe, try and think about getting through this without overthinking it and worrying about it. So you're taking away that pressure from yourself, and then you just find your flow through. Yes,
so you can have a merry-go-round.
Merry-go-round, that's when you keep going back round and back round and back round in circles. Your life does, because you haven't learnt your lessons in life. Sure. So the merry-go-round, and I use that a lot as an analogy, it is where people are sort of, if you've got sort of a trend of partner that you have, that always sort of gets like coercive behaviour, that's inside that you could be a bit needy, okay, but you don't know that in yourself, because you're always going for the same kind of person that treats you like messy, treats you bad, and then says bye and goes off with someone else, and then you feel berate. But learning to love yourself and learning to let go of that and turn around and say, look, I'm better than you, I'm worth more than you, so you don't need to be treated like this. And whatever has happened in your life that's made you feel that this is acceptable behaviour, if you can put that behind you, then you'll find somebody that will love you as much as you love yourself, because that's the point. You need to care about yourself, because you're worth it. You're worth being here in life, and you should not have anyone in this life, in the material world, that's going to turn around to you and say you're not worth it, because you are. Everybody's individual, and everybody has a rite of passage in this world, and everybody should be treated with some respect.
Yes. The other symbol that occurs to me was I think you mentioned previously, was a dripping tap. And you get dripping tap. And
oh yes, I know which one you're talking about now.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a bit of feng shui, that was. That came to me. It's always still resonated with me, that has.
It's relating to money.
Yes, it is. It's feng shui, and it's something when I went on that retreat where I learnt about the other thing you wanted to know about Tai Chi. Yeah. I won a spa break with my sister, and we went. That's two of the courses we went with while we were there in that weekend, and the one with a little touch of. Doing the dripping tap, and the dripping tap, if you've got a drip in your house, it means your money is floating away. That's money down the drain. And in this day and age, as we pay for the water as we get it, if you've got a meter, you think of it like dripping electricity down the drain, or drinking, the water rates, the gas, the bills, all your bills, they're just using more because it's all dripping out. Okay, so a simple drip could be just a washer that you can fix. So it could be solved like that. And it's a bit like in feng shui, it's keeping your house tidy and neat. And it's like keeping things in the right perspective. So you've got money flowing through the house. So that's a money thing. But the dripping tap is like saying, to me, when I work with that, it's to say, look, you need to look at the finances and make it better. It's like, it's not saying you're in trouble, but it's saying it's telling you you're throwing money away somewhere. So look at what you're doing and face that, and then you can stop that dripping tap. It's only a symbolic rather than, you've actually got a dripping tap. Or if you have got one, get it fixed. But like I said, it is to stop you to make you focus on what you need to do. Because it's amazing. Spirit told me that I should give up work and start, and I'll be okay because I look after my husband. And I decided to give up work, and it was the hardest decision I made in my life because I had to trust Spirit and know that I could be okay. And I started doing things that they told me I should do and try and protect and see what we needed and everything, and we are coping. And I never thought we'd cope with that wage coming in for me, but we are coping. And that sort of made me think, well, I should have done this years ago. But either way, I've got the time with my husband because there's 11 years between us, and I've got the time with him, which is quality time, which I could never get back. And so I am so grateful to Spirit for helping me there.
Thank you. So relaxation and meditation, as we know, play a vital role in developing our awareness of spirit and the innate psychic abilities which we all have within us. Meditative practices benefit our mental health and refocus our brain to de-stress and prevent us from overthinking. We tend to worry hugely, don't we, about things that we can never influence nor change in our lives. Now, to enhance your own awareness of spirit around you and your psychic abilities, Lynda, I believe that you use Tai Chi with emphasis on your abdominal breathing and energy flow for physical and mental calming, grounding and balance. So, can you please explain and even show us?
Okay, there's two things I do. One of them, the Tai Chi bit, is where Tai Chi is energy field. So just doing that, you'll feel an energy ball. Okay, that's one thing. But if you do this, if you feel like you've got the world of weight on your shoulders and you can't focus, when you do antenatal classes, which you wouldn't do, Oliver, because you're a man, but they teach you to breathe in and then so it's a deep breath in and then now that on its own will suddenly make you feel relaxed, but if it's really intense, like some people get, they get the tension on your shoulders and you feel like the weight of the world's on them. If you do this, you enjoy me, Oliver?
Yes.
Go. You're not going to join me? No, you're not going to join me. Okay, we go. What you do, you're feeling the energy under your hands, and it feels harder and harder to pull down. You can push it down. Slowly breathing in and out as you do it. Now, I'm not doing it, but if anyone's watching this and you want to try, you continue breathing and I'll continue talking. So you're pushing it down a little bit at a time. I'm going a little quicker. If you want to go slower, that's up to you. But just feel the energy lifting and the energy getting stronger under your hands. It feels like you've got a small wall of air that you're pushing down, and you feel that energy. You feel that power. And as you take it down, the slower you go, the harder it feels, because the more energy that's building up, that's going to go back into your stomach. And when you reach your belly button area, where your solar plexus is, you will turn inside, and then you'd push towards your belly. And that is restoring the energy into your body and making you feel on top of the world again. That energy is filling that space. And you can do the same if you make a ball, and you do that, and you do that, and the more you do that, the longer you do it, the bigger the energy ball gets. And when you do that again, you can put that into your chest. But that one the first one took it off your shoulders. This one just restores your energy. But they both work really well. And now another thing I do, especially when you're training mediums, and when you mention grounding, is if some people are frightened of what they don't know. Some people are frightened of spirit when they don't need to be. Because we have gatekeepers, we have common sense, we have our guides, and we have the love of spirit in our family. That if when we link to spirit, as long as we should be okay. There should be no reason. That doesn't mean there's a possibility that somebody could try to get through. So I always say, and I always used to do, and still do, and I do it when I'm at church as well, I ask the spirit to fill the room with their positive energy. And it comes in a pure white light. Think of yourself sitting in your chair, feeling really comfortable, and you sit there and you close your eyes and you imagine like snowflakes of cotton wool. Something warm, something beautiful, sunlight shining through, coming in little drops like snowflakes all around you. And in that, circling that, is like a big, big glass ball, like a Christmas tree decoration, or a balloon. But you can breathe in it, you can live in it, you can have your chair there. What you have there, though, is protection. You have positive energy, full of love, full of perfection, beauty, hope, and most of all, positive energy and safety. Now, while you're in there, no negative energy can touch you. You can sit there and meditate and talk to spirit for as long as you need, knowing that you're safe, knowing that what you'll get is between you and spirit. You don't need to talk out loud, because if you do that, everybody will think you're bonkers, and everybody will turn around and say, I know what you were saying. You just sit there and take it in. But that gives you that peace, that gives you the time to be yourself, to escape the world, and to feel safe. And then, if you want to ask your loved ones to come through and you sit there, even if you don't see them, you should feel the warmth and love from them. But don't worry if you don't at first. The more you do it, the more you start to feel. But it's in time that will always give you that energy. So if you feel anyone comes to you and they're acting nasty, or they're being rude or negative towards you, put your wall up. This isn't the wall that people block. This is just putting a bubble around you to protect you. And when you know that you can trust the person, or you feel safe and they've gone, you can let your bubble down. But your bubble, this is just to protect you from negative energy. And now know that any positive people So if a medium was coming to you and they're positive and they're nice and they're giving you something, then you know they're safe to let you in, because you know that they've got spirit looking after them too. So it helps you make that judgment call. So I think it's well worth for everybody to have that little hope there.
That's brilliant, wonderful advice. Moving on, can we talk about spirit guides? I get asked a lot about them. Can you tell us about your own main guide, a healer from the ancient world called Jacob, who works in the background at helping you and supporting your work? Some details. I understand that Jacob is a highly experienced elder of the spirit world. Clean shaven with long hair, Jacob was a firm believer in God and chose to have only one human life. He lived 700 years before Christ in an eastern Mediterranean village 20 miles east of the Phoenician city of Baalbek, in what is now the North Lebanon-Syria borderland. So how does Jacob help and support you now? Does he contact you by thought? And what you mentioned earlier, lucid dreams perhaps?
Well, I met Jacob through lucid dream, where I was asleep and I saw this gentleman in a white robe standing there, but he seemed to be doing some kind of surgery, sort of healing somebody. And another person, they had a problem with their back in this, and I was watching in fascination, and there's sort of a glow around him, and I saw his long hair, but he was there, and there was lots of other people, but I didn't see them. It was him I was sort of focusing on. I don't remember the rest of them, but I know that I noticed it was somebody I knew on the table, and who I won't mention, but there was somebody I knew on that table, and I just thought, oh, what's happening? And then he was telling he's going to be okay now. He was in some pain. I've just come to show you who I am, and I'm here, and that this is what I do. I heal. And then I woke up. And so I found the family of the person, and I said, are they okay? They said, oh, they've had a bit of a backache, but he's okay now. Oh wow, that was a real dream. That was a real thing that happened, because it was like all learning process and things. And I have to say, I've always known they're there. I have got 4 that I know of now, but I've probably got more, because I know I've got family and everyone else, because they all pop in my head. But the only ones I really tend to talk to are these 4, and one of them is Jacob. And Jacob, through you asking me and pushing me, I found out his name, because I never was interested. All I wanted to do was work for spirit. That's all I ever wanted to do, was give that connection and help people. I've always been one of these people that like to help people. I'm a carer, I love people, mother hen I am. And so it was when you asked me, I sort of apologising in my head, sorry I'm intruding here, but Oliver wants to know who you are, and these are his questions, and so I'd use the automatic writing, and hence I did give you all that information, and yes, that was from, but I always used to say to you, I don't like what I can't prove, so that's why I went over my boundaries. But I'm glad you did, because now I just go, hi Jacob, can you come and help me do a good service tonight, and things like that. And make, bring the positive energy into the room, and we have a little chat, and I say thank you, and I always go back at the end of the night and say thank you very much for helping me help them. And the other ones are Chi, which is, and I met him in, and I did know his name. He's the only one I did know his name. That's because he told me. But I met him when I was doing my meditations, and when I was at Albury Exponents, and I met him there where we sat on a bench and talked, and he was more like a Buddhist type robe, but it might be Chinese, but it was reddish, but it was, but he was nice and friendly, and I just got to know him, and he's always been there protecting me as well. And the other one, somebody else gave me, another medium said, I've got your guide by you, his name's Raymond and he's a preacher. And he was a slave, and they introduced me to him, and I always ask him for my prayer when I come to do my prayers, but I ask both of them, to be fair. She I don't, I just ask for guidance in other ways. And then the new one is Grace, and I don't know where Grace is from yet because I haven't really talked to her. I've just said, oh hello Grace, nice to meet you, and left it at that. But because we work as a team, and so does all my family, so do their family, and it's a group effort. So it's not just me, I'm just the conduit that they use to meet people and get the help that those people need.
Just talking about spirit guides, what do they do in terms of being a gatekeeper at your demonstrations? You may get a message in another language and they translate it for you into a language you can understand. They organise the queue of people who want to come through you with a message, and in a mass audience there may be a lot of people, and so determining the priority of the ones who come through is also responsibility of the gatekeeper. And there are other things obviously which they do in public demonstrations. Would you want to comment on that?
Well, when I was working in Spain, I was worried about that, and I said, don't worry, Spirit will always talk to you in your own native language. And so I remember doing the one lady, and even though I was in Spain, I said, can you understand why I want to speak Dutch? And she said, yes, my husband who's in Spirit was Dutch. And said, but he's speaking to me in English, he's giving me it in English, so please if I get the translation wrong. And she said, no, that's fine, and I gave her all the message. And so that was fascinating. That was a new thing to learn at that time. The gatekeepers are to make sure that the right people come through, okay, and they let people come through, especially if they link in with me and they're linking with the person we're talking to, so they know who needs to come through. Okay, there are a lot of people, especially when you do a service, there's a lot of people waiting in the background. It can feel quite busy at times. So they try to organise that. They're also there to protect you and make sure that it runs smoothly in a way.
So one of the jobs of the gatekeeper is to prioritise the messages. In the course of a public demonstration, it was once described to me towards the end, it's like last orders at the bar. Everybody's crowding forward, because they want attention, they want to deliver a message. But on what basis do you think priorities are set by gatekeepers? Okay,
well, I'm going to totally say I don't agree with what you said in that sense of the bar and everybody rushing, because I feel that the gatekeepers are there to see where they can help and where they can get that connection. You've spoke before about if people, when people pass to Spirit, some people can come back quite quickly because maybe they've got a spiritual connection with their family, and their family know that they're going to be okay to talk to us because they were happy to have gone, and they want to show their love to you straight away and say, I'm here safe. And if somebody sometimes takes their own life, they might want to just come and say, look, I'm okay, I'm sorry you got hurt. But you don't, as a medium, if you was on the rostrum, and you have to sort of say, I do feel that you have to describe how they were first, because you don't want to go say, did they take their own life? Because you don't want to bring that out, because sometimes it holds a stigma. So you find a polite way of saying they were feeling a bit low and this and that, and whatever you need to say that they can resonate with. But also they'll come back because they want to say sorry. But then you'll get other situations where some people have said, I want to know, we've got this code. And for example, I had a lady once, and I said to her, I said, can you take the number 6? And she said, oh my goodness, she actually said the COD word, but she kept going on and I said, that's amazing. She said, I said, well, we always said, when I've gone, he always used to say number 6. I love you 6, I love you 6, I love you 6, he kept saying through her life. And so getting that confirmation for her was very important. Now, I know from my own personal experience as well that when I've wanted my parents to come through, because I'm just as human as everybody else and I still want to speak to my parents, I don't speak to my family in the sense that I get a message. I see them sometimes in dreams and I get them, but I want it sometimes from somebody else, like another medium. And so I always used to ask, but I used to block them coming through because I wanted them so much. And I think sometimes when you want it too much, you push them away because they're frightened of hurting you. And so it's always best for the recipient to relax and if they can let go and just relax and let spirit work with them, they are absolutely give you everything. They'll talk to you, they'll give you evidence you need, but when you start putting, I don't know what you want to say, you know, what you're going to say, and I've got so-and-so with me and I don't want them to know, that's when you start putting up those walls, and that's when you can say you really want it and you're asking them to come, but just, you know, you just need to flow, and it's all that energy linking. But what the guides do is they make sure everything's running smoothly and making sure everybody's happy and comes through okay.
Thank you. On another fascinating subject, I believe that you've had a couple of interesting personal short stories to share with us about past life regression.
Yeah.
Do you?
Okay. Well, my favourite one is I've only got sort of the two that I was sort of, there are a few others, but these are the main two. And the first one, my favourite one is I wanted to, because I used to be a very big lady, okay, and I went to see a lady that would put me in a trance to try and find out why I'm eating so much. And she put me put me in a trance, which was really lovely and very, very comfortable. But in that trance, I visualised my past life, and I must have been about between 5 and 7 years of age. I was a little boy, and I was a little street urchin. Think of sort of Dickens' time or something, like kind of cobbled streets. But I knew it was London way, because I seem to have come a lot from London, because the other one was from London as well. But this one, I was nicking the apples, and the child catcher caught me. And I went into the workhouse, and then the workhouse had a fire, and I died in the fire. But in that fire, I remember not being scared. I didn't feel the heat. I didn't see the flames. I knew there was a fire, but maybe it was the smoke that killed me. I don't know, but I just know that I looked up, and that white light I send people how beautiful it is was there, and it was more the feeling than what I saw. It was a feeling of love, so much wonderful love, and it felt like you were home and you were safe, and this was the most wonderful place to be in the world. And I was actually so overwhelmed that I woke up crying, but it was not of loss. The crying was tears of happiness for the love that I felt. So that's why that one's really special. The next one was because my father-in-law now is the one that reached out to me via John Rich in Broseley, who's now passed the spirit himself, but he gave me messages, and for about 6 months I went to him regularly, never charged me, looked after me, because I'd split up with my first husband and met my second husband in that time, and he told me that I'd meet this man, and at first you wouldn't like him, and then you'd fall head over heels in love with him. And it did happen that way, because when he asked me for a date, I went, ooh. But he did, he turned up in a suit, and he washed up all right. But I did, in the end, marry my husband Roger, but it was the way he brought us together, and he was saying things that are going on in our lives, and he's saying, no, you don't tell him this yet, you don't tell him this yet, and then he turned around and says, tell him his dad wasn't angry with him for crying at his funeral. And so I told him that, I went, how did you know that? And that was the start of the spiritual journey with me and my husband. And he's not the only medium that said, you know, we had our ups and downs at the beginning, but he was not the only medium. Another medium told me I've got to stay with him. And they both told me that we are life partners and we've lived together before. And that's when I think I was took on my journey to our last past life. We met where we got the gas lamps in the streets, and my husband was working on some kind of labour roads, I think it was, and I was Mabel, and I think he was Edward Thornton. That's who we were. But we had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. And I know I was a barmaid because and I know we've got those, you know, those ones where you look like you're watching Oliver Twist and they've got those little busty things on, and oh sorry, got these busty things on, and so I started off there, and that's where I met him. But then I left there because I was a married woman then, and I used to take in washing and sort of sewing and everything to look after the kids. We died young in our 30s, I believe, and we were lucky enough to have found each other again in this life. So amazing, and we are made for each other. I love him to pieces. I couldn't love anyone more.
The spirit world is constantly moving forward at pace, as our physical world is. In that context, how do you see your own spiritual pathway developing in different ways?
Well, I'm sorry, Oliver, I am completely guided by spirit. And every new evolution they give me, I go, wow, thank you. I would love to be able to see spirit more. I would love to, but I feel that will develop. But I just know I go on the journey, and every new thing they bring out to me to do, I follow their instructions and I do it. And it's always, every day is a different revelation. It's like having a job that changes with, you know, goes with what's happening around the world, goes with the life. And it's like if you work for the police force or an ambulance, every day is different. And being a spiritualist, every day becomes different because spirit get you to where you're good at what you're doing, and then they add something new. They don't rush you, they go at your pace. And I feel that creativity is wonderful, and I'm ready to go wherever they send me.
So please accept our gratitude, Lynda, for taking part in our conversations on mediumship and the spirit world. We wish you every success in your future work as a medium, wherever the spirit world may take you to apply your skills.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.